Hello and welcome to this week's virtual training session. We're going to talk about being ready for winter. We want a safety overview. Okay, we know winter's here already. We need to be ready. We need to have lighting around the buildings. We got to make sure the heating's good. Make sure our fleet's ready for the winter. Our equipment's been winterized. We have a supply of salt for the walkways to keep everybody safe around the building. And check the snow and ice clearing equipment and double check our PPE. Accident, accident statistics show that we have an increase of personal injury during the winter months. Additional hazards working in winter are introduced by reduced daylight hours, and plus we have the weather conditions, rain, snow, fog, and ice, and they can come right after another. One thing some people forget is they forget to look at the forecast. If severe weather is predicted, it's going to be easier for you to take precautions and be ready in advance. We do need to pay attention to the lighting uh, because staircases, walkways, access roads, loading areas, these are all areas where we're going to have very little light. Coming up here, we have the winter solstice on 12/21. On that day, we're only going to have like 7 hours and 40 minutes of daylight. So we need to make sure things are bright enough where we can work safely. We are going to have to deal with snow, frost, and ice. So cars that are parked, our access roads, walkways, they need to be kept clear as practical. A suitable supply of rock salt or sometimes grit should be maintained at the site so we can make sure people are going to have some traction when they're walking around. All right. We need to make sure that snow and ice are cleared before attempting to get on and off of any machine. When getting off a machine, make sure you check the ground you are going to be stepping onto, that it's not icy. Every winter we have a couple of accidents, people coming off the back end of their bucket truck, even stepping out of the cab. They don't take a look and whoops, there they go slipping on some ice. Um, Make sure every day before you take off that your windshield washer bottle is full. Make sure that the temperature range of the washer fluid is correct for the temperature we're dealing with. Again, not all windshield washer fluid is good at all temperatures. You'll see some are good for down to 20 degrees, some down to 0, and some down to -20. But you got to make sure. So make sure you've got plenty of de-icer on the site. On your vehicle, make sure you check the condition of your windshield wiper blades. Make sure they're not going to smear when they're operating. Also, you want to make sure that all lights and your windshield glass is clean. One thing you can do on your wipers is, rub a cloth down them, clean them off, maybe a little alcohol or something like that. Even the windshield wash will work, help clear off those blades. Make sure your flashers and beacons are working at all times. Now, sunlight can be a problem. If you have difficulty seeing, put on your headlights. Make sure others can see you. Now, the sun is going to be at a lower angle. It's about as far south as it's going to get. So it makes it easier for the sun to get in through your side windows, your windshield. So also, you're going to get glare from snow and ice that's out there. So it's pretty handy to keep your sunglasses ready and waiting to go. Now, during poor visibility, make sure you turn your headlamps on as soon as you have reduced visibility. And I am a big fan of making sure that my headlights are on anytime my vehicle is moving. Um, Make sure that you have markers on your routes around the building, sometimes where we need to load up, sometimes where we need to dump our garbage. It's not too clear. So make sure we designate that route. If you get lost in the fog, stop, call for assistance. Don't assume you know where you are. That's one of the good reasons for having GeoTracker. We can pinpoint where you are and get you pointed in the right direction. Check your tires. Look for wear. Make sure that we have enough tread so we can get some traction. And remember that as it gets colder out, we're going to lose about 1 psi for every 10 degrees there's a drop in temperature. So if we've been at 50 degrees and we drop down to 20 or lower, you're going to lose at least 3 pounds of pressure. So make sure you check that out. Check that you have the right grade of motor oil in your vehicle. I know a lot of times, like my snowplow, this time of year I got to have 530. If I had just straight 30 in there, that thing would not turn over. So check with your mechanic and see that you have the right grade of oil in your vehicle. Now we're going to have slippery conditions. We're going to have snow and ice to deal with. Always drive your vehicle according to the prevailing ground, visibility, and weather conditions. You're going to need to allow extra distance for braking under wet or icy conditions. Typically, it takes about double the distance to stop in wet conditions, and with ice, it could be 10 times or more the distance. So make sure you have plenty of space and you give yourself plenty of following distance. Now, make sure you got proper footwear. Make sure you have lugged or logger soles on your boots. This will give you a little bit more traction. And especially because we have much less daylight, it gets darker sooner. Make sure you're wearing your reflective jacket or vest and try to make sure they're reasonably clean. Always remember that these vests are on the outer layer at all times. Okay, so we're going to have other layers underneath, but that reflective vest, that's always going to be on top. Now, don't be tempted to take shortcuts. Keep to the designated pedestrian routes. Make sure and report if these need salting or gridding. When you're trying to cut across deep snow, you really don't know what you're going to put your foot on top of. So you could twist an ankle, you could fall. We want to watch out for that. Be careful working near ponds or streams. These are very slippery, and never assume that ice will carry your weight. Every year we have at least one person that gets wet because they found this nice flat spot that they could walk over. So in review, we want to make sure you're ready. Your head, your body, hands, and feet are covered. Your vehicle, your battery, your tire, your tread, your air pressure is good. Heating, check your antifreeze level, your fans, and all your other fluids. Now the equipment, again, we'll cover this again in another section. Make sure you have antifreeze. Check the track wear, check your sprockets, check your hydraulic fluid level. Working in winter, you got to be careful that you don't overdress. You could be periods of time where you're working really hard, you build up plenty of heat and perspiration. Then you may have stretches where you're less physically active. Here the problem is that the sweat you develop starts to freeze. And when this happens, you can slip into hypothermia. So it's very important to make sure you dress correctly. It's a very good idea to dress in layers. And this way you're able to adjust your clothing to your activity level. So everybody be safe, stay warm and dry, and we'll catch you in the next session. Bye for now.